In the 250 main event, Anstine makes a Vegemite sandwich out of the tough block. How in the world did he not crash? You were watching Creative Lines and Techniques, brought to you by Puremoto. Out front, we have Cooper Webb across the finish line. I want you to keep an eye on his front wheel. Notice as he lifts it up, he is wheeling. Is he wheeling over an obstacle? No, he is not. He is dropping that front end just before the transition roller after the start. There is a roller after the start to slow riders down, but he is dropping that front end just before it. And why is he doing something like that? He is doing that to create a preload bounce so that he can get over that little double. He is creating a lip out of almost nothing by using the bike to preload. Notice Eli Tomac behind him as he lifts his front wheel just briefly as well to do the same identical technique. Even if we watch the 250 guys, Jordan Smith on the Star Yamaha, he even wheelies. However, it's not as pronounced as, say, Eli Tomac and Cooper Webb. Small little wheelie, boom, just enough to compress that suspension so then you can pop. Look at him in that attack position. He is preloading. He is squatting down, pushing that suspension down, and then lifting up hard to get over that first double. Crazy technique. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Dare I say it once more? Crazy. The 450 main event was a sight to behold. You had the defending champ Eli Tomac going head-to-head against chaser Cooper Webb, and they got into a precarious situation after the sand section where no rider was doubling to the inside, and both of them decided to. In my video yesterday, I was talking about if this was dirty or not, and I left this out because to me, this wasn't dirty. This was them both just trying to cover the line. And we have another view of it coming up here where you can see them both jump to the inside, which hasn't been done. This was Tomac trying to just make the pass stick and keep Cooper from being able to retaliate. And Cooper goes, nope, we're both jumping. And Cooper Webb almost makes it into that inside rut, which buy a lottery ticket, that would have been spectacular. But what is also spectacular is these two did not take each other out. More subtle was Hunter Lawrence after the triple on the final lap in the 250 main event. He more or less keeps his feet on the pegs. He just lifts the knee just briefly to let that foot peg fold. This was right before the whoop section, so you know this rut was deep. But look at his body positioning. He is leaning into it, sits down only when he's going to accelerate, and look at that. He is still on his toes, but watch, he'll just briefly lift up so that that foot doesn't get yanked off and you could twist your knee, tear your ACL, but he's not sticking his leg out as you would traditionally, just briefly enough, and then he's back on the pegs. Amazing. Speaking of staying on your toes, head over to Puremoto.com. Search over 1 million items in stock. Their specialty is hard to find parts. All you need is a SKU number. You enter it, it'll populate the nearest shops that have it. No more waiting for back order. You can call up that shop and say, hey, I need this item ASAP. Make sure you swing over at Puremoto.com. Did you see this? RJ, the eventual winner of his heat, look at his hands on the clutch. He has his entire palm squeezing that clutch so he can let it out smoothly, where it's not just a drop with just 2 fingers or 1 finger. It is the entire hand. So it's and from hole shot to finish, he made it work. Puts that bike in gear. squeezes with all of his fingers. Then we have the good old sand section. Love it or hate it, it is a decent equalizer, and this is why. I don't believe that sand should be on a traditional supercross track. However, a hybrid track like Daytona or the end of the series Super Motocross playoffs and championship is a good place for it. Sexton, on the outside, he is currently in third with Anderson chasing in fourth. Look, there's probably about 6 bike length difference, where Sexton accumulatively probably has to ride 14 or so bike lengths further in total just because of him moving to the outside. But he's able to make that all up by his entrance speed into the sand versus Anderson being on the inside, which he should have had the pass done. Look at how beautiful that berm is. But sand just robs horsepower and speed. Look, boom, he's in front, but now he just gets out accelerated as if he was standing still by Sexton, and ends up eventually losing ground. Last but certainly not least, if you've hung out this long, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I know many of you are. I just surpassed the 37,000 subscriber count, so couldn't have done it without you. Hats off to the entire moto community. We've got Kickstart Kenny, which I'm going to re-nickname him Icy Hot for reasons being that are fairly obvious. This was spectacular. This is after the start stretch, but before the sand. Kenny jumps off the quad and over a scrub jump. Doesn't really scrub, but just doubles into the Moguls. And he lands in one of the Moguls, so it's just a less of a harsh transition on the body. There's a landing to there, as opposed to landing with your front wheel high and a big smack on a flat ground. He is making a double out of it. This is just track awareness, and this is why these guys are at the top of their game and why the 450 class is so competitive, because you've got these high-end talent individuals that are able to find little itty-bitty things like this on a track that a typical rider wouldn't have even thought of. Till next time, this is Johnny Hopper. Keep it WFO. Bra-da-da-da-da-whoa.